Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session. I am very glad to have you here. Today, we are going to be talking about anxiety. We're going to be talking about it very little. We're going to be mostly focused on learning tools to support us when we're in anxious states. So we're going to spend like a full 25 minutes learning about these tools while while we're in the flow. So learning about them while we're putting them into practice. This class is all about finding mindfulness practices that can work in your actual life, and really just building the confidence with these skills through repetition. So if you're brand new to meditation or very experienced, you should be able to leave this class with some really good strategies and tools. So, yes, today we're going to focus on something that comes up every day, usually, especially at work, and I call it the anxiety spiral. There is a book that I highly recommend on this topic. Where is the book? Bottom of my shelf. It's by Martha Beck, and it's called Beyond Anxiety. I highly recommend it. It's a hefty read, but very accessible and research based. And so some of the practices in this meditation today are derived from that book. And I want to just name that we're not talking today about anxiety as a diagnosis. I'm talking about the everyday version of anxiety. So your mind is racing ahead, you're replaying conversations, maybe you're trying to solve everything at once. Maybe you feel a low hum of urgency that is really hard to shut off. If anyone can relate to that, you are in the right place. So today we're going to focus on keeping it really simple. We're going to practice slowing it down and coming back to baseline with some actual tools. So, just to note that when your mind is spinning, it's not because you're doing something wrong. It's because your brain is doing its job. It's just doing it a little bit too aggressively. It's working hard to anticipate risk, to solve problems, to protect you. And the issue is it doesn't always know when to stop. So instead of trying to outthink the spiral, which is my default mode, today we're going to do something much more effective. We're going to try to change our state, not our thoughts. So that means working with your body, working with your breath, and working with your attention. These are all things we can control. When those things shift, the thoughts tend to follow. So let's dive in and we're going to learn the tools as we go along. So I invite you to find yourself in a seated position, maybe laying down, maybe standing, a comfortable position for your body. See if you can feel a point of contact on the ground. No need for perfect posture, but just see if you can feel really stable and supported and comfortable. And look around the room, the space that you're in, and see if you can notice just simple things. Maybe see if you can find the color green in your space. See if you can find an object that is hard or smooth. Maybe even touch it. See if you can find something rough. This is sending signals to your nervous system that you're here. This is a grounding practice. And so when you feel comfortable in your space, you feel familiar and secure to the degree that you can, I invite you to let your eyes close. If that doesn't feel good, I invite you to just soften your gaze and allow yourself to drop into this moment right here. And we're going to start with just the most effective place to begin, which is your body. So see if you can take a slow breath in through your nose and a longer breath out through your mouth. And again, a nice slow breath in through your nose. And a longer breath out through your mouth. And do that a few more times. Deep breath in. And deeper breath out. And sometimes people encourage you to count. And for today, I invite you to trust that your body knows what longer feels like. So as you take your inhale, let it be nice and deep and slow. And just as you exhale, trust that you can extend it longer than your inhale without counting. This can set us free a little bit from rigid rules. It's something to experiment with, how it lands in your body. So keep going with that breath, nice and deep. Inhale through the nose. And a longer exhale through the mouth. We're going to try to stick with that breath, just really focusing on a longer exhale for the rest of the class if you're able. And I invite you to bring your attention now to your shoulders, seeing if you can let them drop or soften. Maybe it feels supportive to do some shoulder shrugs, maybe some shoulder rolls. Often, if our body is in a chronically tense state, it can be hard to even notice the tension. So, one way that we can start to notice the difference between tense and relaxed is by intentional tension and intentional relaxation. So, if you take your hands and make fists and squeeze them really tightly together for a few counts, and then exhale, letting the hands open and relax, and see if you can really soften those muscles. That helps you tune into the contrast between tense and relaxed. Similarly with the shoulders, if you shrug your shoulders up high, bringing them up towards the ears and feeling what that feels like. And then on an exhale, relaxing them down and back and letting them feel soft. Really tuning into the physical sensation of your relaxed shoulders. Allowing your long exhales to support that relaxation. Now bringing your attention to your jaw. If it feels tight, but it can be hard to relax. I invite you to bring your hands up to your jaw. And if it feels good, allow yourself to get into the muscles around the jaw with some gentle circles. And often, once I start just gently massaging the muscles around my jaw, I notice how much tension I've been holding. Notice what you notice. Maybe massage or gentle circles doesn't feel good. Maybe just placing your hands alongside your cheeks, maybe cupping your jaw, feeling the warmth of your hands, the gentle touch on your jaw, inviting those muscles to relax. The teeth separate, the tongue softens, the jaw drops. And give a few deep breaths to kind of anchor in that feeling of a relaxed jaw. Now I invite you to bring your attention to your forehead, which is another place we typically hold tension, and see if you can relax the muscles around your eyes. Allow them to soften or unclench, even if it's just 1%. Send some deep breaths to that area in your forehead. And as you exhale, see if you can feel the space between the brows melting ever so slightly. And again, I trust you to know what supports this process. So if it helps to put your hands on your forehead, to massage maybe the scalp, maybe putting your hands over your eyes, the very gentle touch. As you're experimenting with these tools, notice what you notice. What supports relaxation for you? I notice the coolness of my fingers on my face feels good. And actually, when I remove my hands from my face, I feel the warmth and the softness come back even more. So just playing with that for a few more moments, a few nice deep exhales. Anchoring in that sensation of softness in the forehead, relaxation in the jaw, softness in the shoulders. And the number one step in reducing anxiety is finding calm. And this is the best place to begin with your physical body. I love to recommend the shoulders, jaw, and forehead. That's where I hold a lot of tension. So see if you can just stay in this place of slight physical relaxation as compared to before. And notice if your mind is still busy, that's okay. We're not trying to stop thoughts. We're just giving your body a signal that it is safe enough right now to slow down. So, next, I want to help support a shift out of a mental loop into sensory awareness. This is another really supportive tool. So, I invite you to start by noticing sounds around you. Maybe you notice distant sounds, subtle ones, very close sounds. See what you notice. I'll give you a few moments to really tune into the silence and hear what you can hear. Maybe it's birds chirping or lawnmowers or airplanes, or maybe it's the sound of your own heartbeat, your tummy rumbling, your breath. This simple practice moves you out of anxiety spirals, thinking about the future, and forces you to tune in so attentively to the present moment. Now, I invite you to explore another sensation, and that is the feeling of touch. So, I invite you to notice the sensation of where your body meets the ground. Does it feel light or heavy? Is there a temperature, a texture? There you are. Can you feel the sensation of your back against the chair or the ground? Can you tune in to the sensation of your clothes on your body? Can you feel your hair on your face, on your neck, maybe on your ears? Just let your attention rest on the physical sensations that you feel. Maybe it's the cold air touching your skin. I invite you to notice what it feels like to breathe air in through your nostrils and exhale that air out of your mouth. I feel coolness on the inhale through my nostrils, and I feel a warmth in the exhale through my mouth. This is you listening to your senses, tuning into your physical body. See if now you can relax your focus on your breath as it relates to your nostrils and mouth, and see if you can notice how your breath moves your physical body. The rise and the fall. Feel how the breath moves the front body, your tummy, your chest, maybe your collarbones. Now see how the breath moves your back body, your back ribs, your upper back, your shoulders, maybe even. What we're doing here is very simple but powerful because we are interrupting the loop of thinking by giving your attention somewhere to land, somewhere else to land. So that's the sensory awareness tool, and I really love to use sensory awareness with sound first. Really helps me tune in and get quiet. And then I like to use it with feeling, physical sensation. Now I invite you to try one last tool with me together. So just follow along with the sound of my voice. And this is an exercise in changing your relationship to thoughts with curiosity. So I'm going to give you a few moments to be in silence and notice that if you have thoughts come up, it's completely normal. But instead of engaging with them, try to imagine them like notifications popping up on a screen. You can see them without clicking on them. And if a thought pulls you in, that's okay. Just see if you can gently bring it back to the home screen, so to speak. You might even silently name it like, oh, there's a text, or oh, that's a worry, or I'm planning. And then return to your breath or to your body. And if you find yourself really hooked, I invite you to simply be curious about it. Not why am I thinking this? Not what does it all mean? Just like, oh, there's a thought. My brain's really thinking. That kind of thing. So we're noticing the thoughts pass by, just like notifications on a screen. We're going to try to let them just be notifications that are unclicked. And if you happen to click in, just with curiosity, just name, oh, I'm thinking, I'm worrying. And then notice what shifts. So I'll give you a few moments to do this. A full minute and a half of silence before we return. Do you notice that curiosity feels different than urgency or attachment? There's a slightly different quality there. It's not about solving, it's more about opening. So I invite you to take a few more deep breaths in with a nice long exhale out through the mouth. And when you feel ready, coming back into the space,